Hello there, so this is RLC. He's a well-known mapper with a decent amount of popular maps. A few weeks ago, RLC uploaded this map. It's nothing really special, but it's a nice map regardless. Given his experience, RLC definitely knows how to make a solid map, so he decided to push this towards rank status immediately. 2 days after uploading the map, a beatmap nominator bubbled it without any prior mods. Excuse me? Mods fix problems in beatmaps, so a map without any mods must have problems. Maps need mods before ranking. That's how it is for everyone. Why is this guy exempt? Speed ranking is unfair. RLC is a circle jerking mapper whose new map should never be ranked. Right? That's the usual reaction to ranking a map this quickly, but let's take a step back for a minute, okay? What is the point of mods? For beginner mappers, mods loosely teach mapping concepts. For example, my first map received a bunch of mods from different people. Each one tried to explain the problems in my map, and overall, they impacted me. If I made a general mapping mistake, a mod pointed it out and influenced me to never make that mistake again. Mods are truly beneficial when they're influencing a mapper and not just the map at hand. That was about 3 years ago though. I'm not a beginner mapper anymore, so the mods I receive today are different from the mods I received back then. Now, I've learned how to avoid a lot of issues, so my maps no longer have any general mapping mistakes. Mods on my new maps instead focus on showing mapping alternatives or fixing unintentional minor mistakes. Sure, yeah, it is nice to know another person's ideas, and sometimes they're worth implementing, but more often than not, my own ideas fit better with my own map's concepts. And sure, yeah, mistakes are important to correct, but I don't need other people to find them most of the time. If I think a mistake is worth changing, I'll have found it and modified it already. The question now is, are mods even necessary at this point? That's the main concern with speed ranking. The mapper doesn't receive any feedback because they're rushing the process, and therefore the map shouldn't be ranked. According to the mapping community, who doesn't like speed ranking, getting mods is enough feedback to polish a map, and so mappers push towards rank after collecting some mods. To answer that question and see if mods are necessary, let's look at this map. Tell me, by looking at it, what problems do you notice? The map is kinda old now, but I still think it's pretty polished. Every difficulty received a decent amount of mods before the beatmap nominators bubbled and ranked the set, so high quality is just expected at this point. This is how the ranking process works for the majority of maps. Okay, how about this one then? What problems do you see on this map? I made it around the same time as that last one, so there's a lot of resemblance, you can probably tell. This map also got a decent amount of When I compare these two maps, I can't really see much of a difference in quality. Even if the first map received feedback from modders, those mods didn't impact enough to make a noticeable difference when compared to the second map. Speed ranking a solid map essentially means skipping over these mods that don't actually affect map quality. That isn't to say mods are entirely useless though. As I said earlier, mods build on one another. If a mod points out a valid issue in one of my maps, all of my future maps will avoid that issue. If a mod also points out a cool way to map something, I also have that knowledge to incorporate into future maps. By the time I made these maps, I had already received something like 200 mods on previous maps. Those mods may not be directly linked to these newer maps, but they still influenced my way of mapping, and therefore how these maps were designed. When comparing these two maps, the first directly received 7 mods and the second directly received, sort of 1? It looks like a big difference, but overall, both actually received about 200 mods each due to how mods build on one another and affect me as a mapper. So to answer the question, no, I don't think mods are necessary at this point. They can help, but if a mapper wants to improve past a certain point, personal initiative to advance is more important than recommendations through mods. You can't really force someone to improve unless they actually want to. But, of course, there's still the concern that speed ranking is unfair to the rest of the mapping community. Everyone wants equal treatment, and so when one person is privileged, everyone else wants that privilege. The problem with equality is that not everyone's maps are equal. Less experienced mappers or mappers who don't really socialize aren't capable of speed ranking. They just don't have the same connections or can't make maps of the same quality as more experienced mappers, which means it's harder to convince a beatmap nominator to rank it, or their maps just need more time for improvement. So equality isn't possible, but instead of everyone wanting the privilege to speed rank their maps, equality is handled by forcing everyone down to the lowest common denominator. Because less experienced mappers require mods to make acceptable maps, experienced mappers are also forced to get mods, even if mods won't affect the quality of the map. Forced mods and waiting don't exist to improve maps, but rather to satisfy those who want equality. The worst part about this whole situation is that I say forced, but there's nothing in the actual ranking process forcing mods. It's more of a social thing. If a good map is speed ranked, it'll get attacked for being unfair rather than being low quality. The social drama that comes along with speed ranking isn't worth the trouble for mappers and beatmap nominators, so wasting time on mods that don't affect the map is actually the most practical strategy for experienced mappers. And I think that's dumb. If the mapping community could look at mods and speed ranking in a different way, it would allow modders to focus on maps in need of mods, and mappers wouldn't have such a tedious time when pushing towards rank. On the opposite end, though, this could allow for more low-quality maps to be pushed forward if beatmap nominators aren't careful. There's kind of no perfect solution for the current situation, but I think judging a map based on the map's quality rather than how much feedback it's directly received is a good start.